In the next few videos, we're going to look at retopology and projection inside of ZBrush. All right. Um, Now, why do we retopologize our models? Mostly to get them to a lower poly count and to better control our edge flow and our edge loops. Proper retopology will aid in good squash and stretch and deformation in our characters, especially when it comes to facial animation. So I've got a few examples right here of just some really good retopology. You can see that one of the more important things about having good, certainly facial retopology, are these edge loops that you see going around the muzzle, the mouth, and the eyes right here. So you can see with good retopology, we're able to get more sort of realistic squash and stretch in our geometry. You can see something like this right here. If we had really bad geometry where there are no edge loops, there's triangles and just really bad geometry in here, this would not rig or animate well at all. All right. On the other side here, we do see a model that's been cleaned up with much better topology. So typically, while we're sculpting or modeling, especially sculpting inside of ZBrush, we might have geometry that's like this while we sculpt, especially if we're using Dynamesh. But if we want to take our models into a film or a game, they need to be cleaned up with proper retopology. And it should be understood that doing retopology and cleaning up your models is absolutely a modeler's responsibility. So in a studio, a modeler would have to be responsible, obviously, for modeling the asset, as well as UVing that asset, as well, and retopologizing it. Uh, sometimes they may be responsible for texturing it as well, but usually, certainly in larger studios, there would be a texturing department that would take care of the texturing. All right, but more often than not, the retopology is the responsibility of the modeler. So it's really important that you get good at retopology and you understand it. So let's just look at a couple more images I've got here. All right. Um, Again, talking about controlling your edge flow, all right, and just creating nice, clean topology. Here again, you can see loops that go around the mouth, loops that go around the muzzle, loops that go around the eye sockets, and there's even, you can say, a loop that goes around the forehead and down and underneath the chin. All right. Oftentimes, the edge flow will follow the sort of direction of the musculature of your character, especially when we're talking about character retopology. All right. It's not unusual to take a picture, for example, and draw on top of it, to take it into Photoshop and draw on top of it to help you plan out your edge flow. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this. And as a young artist, somebody who's starting out doing this sort of thing, doing retopology, drawing it out is often very helpful. Right? There's nothing wrong with this. There's certainly no shame in doing this sort of thing. And once you've done it a few times, you really don't need to draw it out like this anymore. But while you're starting, this is not a bad idea. Okay. Just want to show you some nice retopology over the entire body right here. A lot of people often are confused by the idea or the concept of low-res geometry versus high-res geometry. There are many, many examples of this sort of thing right here that you can find on the internet that show you nice, clean, low-res geometry. All right. So when you're, trying to trying to understand, trying to get a mental picture in your head of what good, clean topology and retopology looks like, do a search, and you should be able to find plenty of images that can help you. Again, another image right here. Same sort of thing. You can see how nice and clean the topology is, and it certainly could be argued that there is not a single row here or row of polygons or points or edges that do not contribute in some point to the model or in some part to the model. If you can delete a entire row right here of edges and it doesn't really change the shape of your model, then you did not need that row of edges to begin with, okay, or that row of polygons. That's typically the rule of thumb. If you can delete it and it doesn't change the shape of your model, you probably didn't need it to begin with. All right, so everything on your model should be there for a reason. Every edge, every polygon should be there contributing to the shape of your model in some way. You know, don't use 1,000 polygons if you can use 100 polygons to describe the same shape. All right, that's sort of the general rule of retopology. You know, just use what you need. Okay. So again, just more stuff here showing, you know, low res, medium res, and then you can go up to that to a higher res. But everything on here, there's enough information in the low res model right here that you could probably delete half of the stuff that's in this high res and it would still hold the shape. Okay. All right, some more stuff here explaining edge loops, the looping that goes around the eyes, the face, the muzzle, the mouth. This kind of stuff is very important. And here we go, a real nice low-res image here showing, again, good retopology. Now, there's no shortage of this sort of thing if you just go to Pinterest. All right, and here I've just typed in Retopology ZBrush artworks. Tons of stuff in here, all kinds of great information, not showing not only organic type stuff, but hard surface. Okay, so if you're confused about what good low-res geometry looks like, certainly in a hard surface model, you can find good examples of that right here. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and jump into ZBrush. And we'll take a look at the model that we are going to retopologize for our integrated assignment. If you find and open up our PRM retopo skull.ztl, all right, open that up, click and drag, go ahead and hit edit. And as I like to do, I'm going to go ahead and change the material from the red wax to the basic material right here. And this is the model that we're going to be retopologizing for this assignment. So in the next video, we'll come back and we will, I'll show you the technique and process to retopologize this skull inside of ZBrush.